Welcome to Lothar's Guitar School and the analysis of Doxy. And before I explain things, let me play a few bars for you. And now let's look at the analysis. So let's look at the chord structure first. We see there are no two fives at all, but we have a lot of 5 to 1s. Or here the first one, that's a sub 5 to the G7. The G7 to C7 is a regular 5 to 1. This is a 5 to 1, and that's a 5 to 1. The same here. Actually, we usually write a sub like this. Regular 5-1, regular 5-1. And there it is different. But one could see this as a 5 to 1 progression. But we'll more see it as a blues progression. So it's in the key of B flat, but it's a 7th chord. It's a 1-7 here. And the scale we would play is Mixolydian. The second chord is the flat 7-7, or to say actually it is the 5, the sub 5 of this one, the 6th chord, the 6-7, and sub 5, and you also have flat 2-7 calls for Mixolydian sharp 11 scale. So when you look at it where they come from, B flat 7 is the 5th degree of E flat, and mixo sharp 11 from A flat 7 is the 4th of E flat minor, melodic minor. So the only thing that really changes from these two is that you go to the G flat. And that's actually something that you could emphasize or not, otherwise the scales are the same. The G7 chord is very often played as an altered chord. This is the 6-7, you could call it the 6-7, or actually it is the 5-7 of the 2 chord, of the C7, which is the 2 in B flat. And yes, we'd play altered, which is coming here then from the A flat melodic minor scale. The C7 is the 5 of 5, and we could play Mixolydian or mixo sharp 11, which very nicely then moves half step down to the G melodic minor scale. And the F7 is finally the 5-7 of the 1, and you could play anything But altered fits nicely, because then we have the G flat melodic minor scale, and you move down chromatically from here. And then at the B flat we are at the mixolydian again. The same progression here, except that the C7 is held for 1 bar and the F7 for 1 bar, but the relation is the same between the chords. The B flat 7 is the 1/7 chord again, and the E flat 9 is, like in a blues, the 4/7 chord. And it is very nice to play mixo sharp 11 here. But you could also play mixolydian. And the E diminished 7 is just a passing chord, so we play whole tone, half tone scale. So that's it for the chord relationship. But anyways, it is very advisable to play the chord structures, to play the chords and embellish around them. So with dominant 7th chords you anyways have almost all the possibilities. Mixolydian, mixo sharp 11, altered, and anything that fits and moves chromatically or diatonically to the chord tones. We'll see that later also when we check a Miles Davis solo. So that's it for the analysis, straightforward. And actually, if you look at it, how it is done in the A basalt course, it says altered on the G7 9 as well, and says altered on the F7 9 as well. So I'm not that far off. We'll see. Miles Davis does it differently. I transcribed the first 16 bars of Miles Davis solo, and I'll play it for you first. And now let's analyze his solo. When we now look at Miles Davis solo, we see that he starts with an inversion of the melody, which goes F, B flat, D in the beginning. He plays D, B flat, F. So which is the major third of the B flat, the root, and the F is the 13 of the A flat. And then on the G7 he does something interesting. He plays an A. He plays the regular natural 9 and then goes to the 1. As we said before, we would expect to go to the A flat, especially because it's in the bar here. But he does this nice change and plays what is not usually done. So reminds me what he said to Herbie Hancock once when he was not feeling well with what he was doing. He said, "Don't play the butter notes." So the butter notes are the ones that you'd expect. He plays something that you would not expect. On the C7 he plays a C7 arpeggio, the major third, the 5, the flat 7 and the 9. So very nice arpeggio going up, and then going in arpeggio on the F7 down, on the 5, on the major third, on the 1 to the major third, resolving to the root of the B flat 7 chord. Very often and clearly voice leading to the next chord. The second line, he starts similar again with the F, B flat, D, landing on the D, which is the sharp 11 of the A flat 7 chord. So clearly, yes, the mixolydian sharp 11. And he goes to the 5, back to the sharp 11, to the major third, and now plays what is different in this G7 chord, clearly lines out the major third. So you have a nice voice leading from the C to the B. Here he does the A flat, the flat 9, to the 1. And then again, nice voice leadings from those two chords, F to E. So he plays the flat 7 to the major 3rd. Classical voice leading. Up here he just plays 9 to 1. And here he plays the 13 to the E flat, which is the flat 7. So that's a guide tone in the F7, so makes clearly lining out the chord. In the third line, he clearly plays as a blues lick. 5, flat 7, 1, 9, and lands on the flat 7. That gives it a clearly blues flavor. Then rests on the first quarter notes and plays the G, which is the major 3rd, the A, which is the sharp 11, the B flat, which is the 5, the C, which is the 13, and now he starts with two notes that are up within the E diminished 7th chord, the D flat, the B flat, and then goes to the G flat and the E flat, which is an outline of a E flat minor 7 chord, which is in a lot of songs a typical movement, going from the 4-7 to the 4 minor 7. But those notes are not really part of the E diminished 7th chord, but he plays them as well. So he plays a nice line over this chord, and since the first two notes fit, it doesn't really matter if all the others fit. So E flat minor 7, then that's the 11, and that's the flat 3 again. It fits. And the last line, he again starts with the 5, the 1, the 9, going to the sharp 11, to the 5, to the F, which is the 13. And again, he plays the natural 9, going to the 1, similar as we had before. And then the very last line, a small ascending line from 1 major 3 and the C7 landing on the 9. And now he has a chromatic approach notes. E, F, E flat, landing on the D, the major 3rd, to 1. So this E flat is also, again, nice voice leading from guide tones. This is a flat 7. And he has the 1 here. And the E is just a passing, chromatic passing note going to the F. So he does some interesting things in his solo in the first 16 bars. This is good to know that you don't always have to go what theory tells you. You can always play when it sounds nice. This was the analysis of Doxy with hints on improvisation and transcription of 16 bars of Miles Davis solo. And I hope you liked it. I hope to see you again soon at Lothar's Guitar School. Take care and bye-bye.